Welcome to this week's reflection. I'm Jonna Werner, Business Agility Coach. For those new to my post, I like to end the week with a targeted reflection. And reflection is a critical activity for both our individual learning and for team and organizational growth. And I would highly recommend adding it to your weekly routine if you don't already do it. This week, I want to reflect on balancing present demands with building the future. On Monday, I posted an infographic detailing some of the choices we have right now with the coronavirus. Obviously, one very big challenge is living and responding to the present while staying at least somewhat focused on the future. So grab a pen and paper or open your note-taking app and let's think about the last week. Since we are going to reflect both on responding to the present and working towards the future, it might be helpful to draw a line down the center of the page or put two columns in your notes. And that way you can compare where most of your energy and focus went and think about opportunities to rebalance if you need to do so. You can write whatever comes to mind, or I like to use a tool used by the United States military. It's called an after-action review. And I've posted a template for you to use in the comments if you're a template kind of person. An after-action review is simple. It's 4 questions. I have them here on the board. The first 3 questions look at the present and or immediate past, and the last question points us to the future. So what was supposed to happen, what did happen and why, what successes or failures did we have, and what can we learn from them? I'm going to pause on this question for a moment because often we give our successes short shrift, right? We focus on the gaps only and we shoot straight into problem solving. And while there's nothing wrong with that, you can get as much, if not more, sustainable improvement by looking at what went right. What were the people, processes, and infrastructure that enabled those successes? And how do we put those conditions in place more often or more broadly throughout the organization? And also, this is a stressful time for everybody. So it's good to note the successes and make sure you are recognizing them for yourself first and then for your team. So don't forget that important part of looking at the successes and the recognition. And then this last question of how do we ensure what we learned is incorporated into our people, processes, or infrastructure in the future? So take a few minutes to run through these questions from 2 different perspectives. The first perspective should be response or management of the present needs and changes. And the second perspective is what you did to build the future in this last week. And I know, again, working towards a future vision, product release, or improvement is really difficult right now with the constant influx of daily challenges. But there's also incredible learning happening right now. As the saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention, and chances are your business is doing more experimentation and innovation than it ever has. Newsweek just published an opinion piece talking about how the business and economic disruption caused by the coronavirus is going to turbocharge new technologies, and companies are going to have to adapt quickly to those new technologies to not be left behind. So as you think about this week, present and future, take some time to reflect on how the current situation is stretching your team to learn and innovate with its communication or teaming, sourcing, production, whatever, and how all that learning and innovation can translate into long-term changes in the business for future advantage. So as an example, if you started using 3D printing to create critical spare parts because parts are back-ordered, could you use on-site additive manufacturing to make spare parts as a long-term strategy? And this would be a just-in-time strategy that lowers risk due to supply chain disruption. What's not to love about that? And if so, could you start negotiating with suppliers to license their specifications versus or as well as buying parts from them? That's one example, but obviously there are many, many more to consider as solutions for the present and innovation for the future. Thank you for watching this Friday reflection. I'd love to hear what you think or what your reflections are in the comments or send me a DM. Have a great weekend. Please stay safe, and I'll see you on LinkedIn next week.